Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let us today begin with React Native with Expo. In this video, you will find out how to set up a development environment with Expo CLI and run a React Native app using Expo code. This will give you a pleasant environment for managing a React Native project as well as testing your code quickly and easily in an emulator. There are a few prerequisites to take care of before you get started. Let's find out what those are. First, you need to have the latest node installed and you will need to have an emulator ready for at least one of either iOS or Android. Alternatively, you can simply scan the QR code that comes up when you first open Expo to install Expo Macro Bundler. Finally, you should have an IDE installed. I'll be using VS Code as my code editor, but you can utilize anyone that you prefer. You'll find links for installing these in the additional resources. If you need any guidance with those steps, you can consult with earlier materials in this course. Once you're ready, let's get started with the installation. I am within the terminal inside VS Code, where I'll start by typing the commands npx and create expo app. I then have to give name to my project. I'll use sample project and press the enter key. As I already have Node installed, I'm prompted to install the create expo app package. I'll press Y and then enter. That starts the installation of Expo and all the packages that come with it. This may take a few moments, but once the installation is done, you'll be given instructions on how to run the project on iOS, Android, or in web browser. Are you ready to get into Expo code? Then let's get started. Although I'm not demonstrating it here, I've taken a few steps to prepare this project. Namely, I've gone into sample project and imported it within the VS Code workspace. I've gone into the sample project and imported it within the VS Code workspace. In the app.js file, notice that some of the React Native components such as text, view, and style sheet have already been taken from the React Native project. Something new you may have noticed is that Expo has a special status bar. This is simple React Native code that is written on top of Expo. But how would you run this? To do this, I'll start by opening the terminal. I open the terminal menu at the top and then select new terminal inside the terminal. I'll select new terminal inside the terminal. I'll then run the command nmp start, which starts the project. One of the first things you'll notice is a QR code for accessing the Expo Metro bundler. This translates JavaScript code bundles bundles that into a single file and is a convenient option for running the app if you don't have an emulator. If you already have emulators installed on your device, then go ahead and start them now. In my case, I have an iOS emulator installed through Xcode. I'll open the iOS simulator by pressing the I key. I'll press the emulator by pressing the L key to install a simulator for iPhone 11. After a few moments, the emulator pops up with a prompt to open it in Expo. I'll tap open. Keep in mind that if you want to run an iOS emulator, you need a Mac OS computer such as a MacBook. If you're using a Windows machine, you'll use an Android emulator instead. Once Expo Go opens, you are greeted with a welcome message from Expo and then instructed to open the app.js file to start working on your app. In the app.js file, you'll find that message within a text component and you can modify it to display a different message. I'll change it to say, hello, welcome to Little Lemon app. I want to verify that this message is placed correctly. I'll do this switching over to the emulator window to check out my app immediately. I find that the update is reflected. The emulator picks up changes quickly with no compile time, which makes for a faster and more pleasant workflow. Another change I'll make in the app is to add some the front styling for the font, specifically increasing the font size to 20. Again, I go to the emulator window after typing my code and the change is displayed instantly. That's it. You have just been given a demonstration on how to install and run Expo on your machine. And then check updates in your app code on the emulator. There you have it. All you need to install Expo is to have an IDE installed. Run a single command and then you're all set. Thank you.